Thanks for joining me on episode 25 as well as day 25 of the build. This is the shower room, washroom of the small home office area. It's going to be a bit of a revelation in this episode. It's taken a bit longer for this episode. It's been about 7 days since I've uploaded. I recorded a lot of this video from about a week ago. However, you will see some updates in this video, so stay tuned for what's happening and what I told the builder to do. Now, looking at this, you'll see this is a shower enclosure in the washroom area. The plastering's being done. There's a little bit of paint areas that I've put to test the paint out. It's going to be a brilliant white. But in this episode, you're going to be seeing this shower enclosure being put in to the washroom. It's like is it called tempered glass? It's like a shatterproof glass. So it's a stronger glass. Most showers are made out of this. And how you do it is you get the aluminium frame, you plumb it up against your existing shower. If you remember in the last episode, you would have seen the electrics being done for this small home office build. And the episode before that, we looked at the washroom, like the setting up of the pipes and the drainage system. But in this episode, we're kind of combining all of that stuff together. It takes quite a lot of work if you think about it, because if you're building a new building, which this is, you actually have to make the building, you have to get the plastering done, then you have to get the floor laid, then you get the tiling done, and then the floor for the shower tray, and then as things progress, things overlap, electrics, etc. So you'll see for the enclosure, he's using a silicon bead where he actually puts the aluminium frame to the wall, and he will be screwing that into the wall. So once that works out, how this will be is it's an 1100mm wide shower. It has a mixer tap which is actually connected to hot and cold water, so you will get hot and cold water here. The shower itself, it's a mixer tap, and you'll see there's a handrail that can be screwed into the tiling. So we used tiles here, which you saw in the last episode, 2 foot by a foot tiles, and we used about 4 boxes in the end with all the offcuts and everything. The shower enclosure goes in nicely, the handrails go in okay. So all these little things are, just straightforward processes that builders should be good at. So if you recall, this is a small home build episode, and I'm showing you basically how long things take. In this episode, it's actually a number of things going on, as well as I told the builders to actually leave, and I did the remainder of the work. This is the floor lino which will go down the washroom. It's like a beige tile effect thing. So what the builder did was they cut this out and they put it on the floor, and you'll see over this episode how this transpires. There's a time lapse being taken place, so you'll kind of see there's been a number of comments about building and how these have kind of taken place and the builders doing the stuff. In general, most builders try their best. However, you will have opportunities to challenge them. So we had a contract in place, so it's pretty straightforward. I said to him, you know what, you're not doing it to the standard that I need you to do it at, and this is how far you've got. And did you remember, I've got a link in the description for all the finances, how this worked out, all the details about the builders, planning permission, what I'm paying, what I'm not paying, what I won't pay, all these little things. So stay tuned. It's a bit of a drama series now. So he cut the lino down, he put the lino down. Can you guess what happened and why I thought, you know what, that's the final straw? You'll see. So, okay, he's cutting the lino, he's putting that down, and this is for the floor. We will have a toilet going here and a sink basin, which means that will be the remainder of the washroom. So there's nothing too complex here. It's basically a out soil pipe, water for the cistern to top up the water for the toilet, and then the sink, hot and cold water, and the shower's already been done. So at this point, he's laying down the lino, and these will have like a sealed perimeter, and there'll be a skirting as well. So here's a toilet being dry fitted to check that. You'll notice there's a hole in the wall. Ignore that for now. That's basically for access for the water, and that will be sealed over once we've done the tap on there. So the water system, the toilet system, the lino's been put down to size as well as it can be, and these little things are coming together. The washroom is basically 1100mm by 8 foot, so that's what, 3.5 foot by 4 foot kind of roughly. So neighbors have come around to have a look at how work is progressing as well, so everybody's popping in now and again. So this is the shower room. He started to do the cistern, and at this point I realized that he doesn't have a clue really. So he started putting things together. He didn't level off the toilet. The cistern, there's 2 bolts on the tops, so I'm calling it a cistern, is that the right the term, where the water goes in for the flushing of the toilet. So he put that on, but he tightened one screw too tight than the other, so it wasn't level. So what I did do is I got at a spirit level just to see what is going on, and I spirit leveled the toilet, and it wasn't level. And then I spirit level the actual seat of the toilet, like the main lower section of the cistern, and that wasn't level. And then I thought, why is the toilet wobbling? And then I did the floor. I checked the floor, and the floor was not level. So I said to him, you've built the whole extension, you're a builder, and you say you've got 20 years worth of experience. Why is the floor not level? And you'll see over this episode, he says, okay, I ran out of sand or something. He didn't have any washers for the toilet, so I gave him some washers from my stuff. So at this point, I was like, okay, now I'm feeling like definitely all they can do is dig a hole and build a wall. Anything else above that is not their skill or forte. A couple of people have commented to say general builders try their hand at everything and they're kind of not really good. They just try and get things done. So at this point, I realized the toilet is not level, and I moved the toilet. He screwed it down, and he didn't screw it down correctly because the floor was just basically sand. It wasn't cement and sand. He didn't put the correct ratio in. So at this point he said, oh, okay, what I'll do is I'll take it out and I'll relay the floor. And he did that, and then he said, oh, I'll have to leave it for 3 days. I said to him, well, if you had leveled the floor out previously correctly, then you wouldn't have to waste another 3 days. So at this point I was like, you know what, leave it, I'll do it. So I've told him to go. He's taken his tools. I've given him all the stuff he needed that he left here and take it with him. So basically he doesn't have any tools remaining here. All that's left here is stuff that I need to complete. So you'll see he's tried to do the sink, and this time lapses of the entire process. Just before this time lapse, you saw when I checked the toilet. That's actually ahead of this, but this is just showing you how long he spent trying to do the toilet and the sink. And he also didn't give the sink water the right amount of flow, and he just siliconed the sink straight onto the wall. No screws, no nothing. The sink normally has 2 screws below it, which need to be. This is where I gave him the tape measure, and he starts tape measure the spirit level. And he starts checking things and leveling things, and he's like, oh, okay, see how much wobble there is. He's going to put that. Actually, this is it. He's going to put wood underneath each side to level it off. I said to him, you laid the floor. It's not like the floor was already laid. So why did you not lay the level floor? And the sink wasn't level, and then he started taking things away and putting them away. So he took everything off. He said, I'm going to relay the floor. So what kind of builder lays a floor and it's not level? So he laid, see there? So that, yeah, okay. So let me know in the comments what you think is interesting. And he relayed the floor, he put sand down and cement down, and he let that dry. And after that, I've not let him come back. So the remainder of these processes you'll see now will be me. That's why it's taking a bit longer now, because I'm doing the work as well as filming. Whereas before, as he was doing it, I was just filming bits and bobs and it wasn't as intensive. Whereas if you're doing the work yourself and filming, things take a little bit longer. So you'll see he started putting buckets and sand and cement and screech to level off the floor. And yeah, what, that is an entire cowboy type situation, isn't it? Leveling the floor was not done. What? Okay, so he put through another cement and screed, and he this time used a spirit level to make sure it's level, and it still isn't actually level. It's still a little bit off. When I say a little bit, about 3-4 mil off, and considering he's using a spirit level there, I don't understand why he could get that wrong. Because once the screed is laid, it doesn't contract or anything, does it? And yeah, so that's like kind of there. And this took about 2 days to dry, and during that time I came back and did other bits and bobs around there. So the remaining things that he would have done would have been fitting the doors on, fitting the skirtings on, doing a lot of little finishing touches like the extractor fan ending he hasn't done. So this is 2 days later and things are drying. So the floor is drier now, the shower's been done, but there's just little bits and bobs. So you'll see the electrics are working. There's a little fan that he turns on, and also that fan he just screwed straight into the plasterboard ceiling. And when I was painting the ceiling, that fan kind of drooped down because he didn't use plugs or he didn't screw them in properly. He used plasterboard little screws. So there's loads of little things that are niggling at me, but at this time and moment in place, I'm like, you know what, I could do a better job, and I am going to do the job. So you'll see the remainder of this video is me finishing off what he should have done, and correcting things that are just kind of, really useless. But so far, I'm on the 17th of March right now. We're doing this voiceover, and this was from like 1.5 weeks ago. So we are just taking it a bit slower now because the main construction has been done. The ceiling, the roofs is watertight. I want to make sure everything else is okay and see if any other niggles happen. So you'll see this a little video the next day. It's 26th day of this process. And then I started putting the lino down and thought, I just get rid of the guy and I'll do this myself. So looking at the lino, he didn't even cut the lino correctly, as in like he didn't level it off. So you'll see here I had to readjust and look at what he did and how he did it, and then try to figure out, okay, wait a minute, there needs to be something that needs to sort this out. So I've relayed the lino. I've found the little bits where he didn't correctly measure it up and adjusted it. So you'll see here I put the toilet and the pipe on, and I noticed that the flow, like the drop from the sink to the toilet, wasn't quite correct. And because the back floor is still not level, I've pulled the lino over a little bit because the lino is about 2 mil thick, and that's making me a little bit happier that it's a little bit more level than it would have been. So yeah, it's not like it's going to be I don't know, it doesn't need to be as level as I want it to be, but considering it's a new build, it would help. And I've seen a lot of videos. See, even I had to mix up my own little bit of cement to fill up the gaps that he left around the soil pipe. And it's like these just little things. Also, the soil pipe was connected directly to the rainwater pipe, so the foul smell comes out from that, whereas it should have been like a water gully or something that has like a seal, so the water stops the smell coming up on hot days. So this is where I do the piping and just adjust it, and he left it about 5 mil too long, and he just botched everything together. So here you'll see I leveled off the toilet in multiple ways. I made sure the cistern was level, the back was level, the seat was level, and then adjusted the piping to make sure that all works properly. It's a lot of common sense stuff. It's just I didn't want to get my hands dirty, to be honest. Having a builder, you want them to do this. But you'll see here this connection here was like, there wasn't a nice fold, so there's water always sitting in the pipes, and over time that takes its toll on seals. So I gave it a bit more of a fold towards the toilet. It's not much of a fold there, but the water flows down nicely and goes straight into there. He's got a drain pipe water into the toilet soil pipe, so it's not like a separate one, so it's like interjoined. And yeah, these little things are things that take time, but because I could do it, I was like, you know what, I should have just done all the internal work myself at the starting, so I'm not too bothered and I'm capable of doing it, so it's fine. However, if you're thinking about doing this kind of thing and you've got builders, then just make sure you know what level of finish they can achieve and how well they will do that, because then it just leaves it like a bit of a sour taste in your mouth getting adjustments and things. So here you'll see I adjust the sink, and that's going to be screwed onto the wall with plugs and longer screws with washers which have correct use. So you'll see here I use the waterproof washers. Even though water won't get to the top of that cistern, I just like it to be a bit better. There you'll see I use the proper screws to go into the floor, and it's all solid now. Yeah, so it's just, and this pipe you'll notice here, that's how much I cut off the pipe to make it adjust. I don't know how he botched it before because it wasn't all level, and he had the pipe, water pipes directly behind the drain pipe, which made it hard to reach in and kind of unscrew things if you need to do any adjustment or cleaning the drain. So there's little bits and bobs left, as well as the extractor fan. He messed that up basically. So what I did is I took the pipe out, I drilled the hole, and I put my own jigsaw in there to cut out the extractor fan. So you'll see behind the insulation there's like the extractor fan for the bathroom, so like getting rid of the steam and bad smells. So I lined that up here and then put the end cap on myself, cutting through the fascia board and the wood behind there. So these little things are like the niggly things that have been left till the end because they're just fiddly. It's like a half day's worth of work and they couldn't be asked basically, and they kept putting it off, and I just thought I'll just do it myself. So this is where it goes, and realistically it's behind the drain pipe, but it is adjusted so that it goes a bit lower, if that makes sense. It goes below the drain pipe. When I say drain pipe, I mean the rain drain. You'll also notice the door is on here because I've been doing some work myself. I've hung the door myself. I've done all the skirtings and we've cut them out. We've got paint. We're just going to varnish them. So you'll see over the next few episodes how these things progress. And in the pinned comments, you'll also see links to the article to support this video. And you can go back and watch the full playlist to see all the blunders the builders made and how bad builders can be. To be honest, I looked at it, could have been worse. I've seen worse builders out there, and I kept an eye on them. I know they cut corners and where they cut corners, and I was okay. Realistically, there's bits there that could be better. However, you'll see here now still it's okay. Main bits are done. In the next episode, you'll see me hanging the door, as well as seeing a lot more about the paint and adjustments and the little finishing touches. So if you're not already following the series, stay tuned to see how well this performs. And it's nothing fancy. It's like just a straightforward, sleek option. On screen, you'll see the next episode, and I'll see you on that episode.